I did.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how do I get in it on mine's.
So go to your Facebook page or go to my Facebook page and then hit share.
Okay. Which
Hmm.
one? Because you have two.
So go to my main one, Jewel Tankard.
Okay.
Um, the one where it's a picture of Ben and I.
Okay.
Okay.
Nope. I ain't got that one. I only got the one with you in the hat,
Oh,
and
you
then
know
one
what?
with the pink.
I'm gonna see if it'll let me do it. Mm. Hi everybody. Okay. Oh, you know what? Mm-mm. Okay, I'm about to send you. Hold on. Ask Mill to help. Hi everybody. How you guys doing? Y'all getting in on some behind the scenes.
BTS. BTS.
Listen. All right, so can you share this FB to Nisha's page? All right, girl.
We have a lot of really, really good stuff to talk about tonight. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, we do. Like, it's definitely some really huge times right now that I want to make sure that everybody is getting in on. Guys, go ahead and share this feed. This is going to be a great conversation with Benicia and I. I'm really, really excited, really about the opportunity, really. And it's crazy, Benicia, that, you probably, I know you saw this. JP Morgan is putting like $1 billion in residential properties. And you
Mhm.
have companies like Tricon who are trying to buy up like 800 doors a month. And so you and our value is in alignment in that, God graced your life to own a bank. And now with Averse, we put together this amazing financial ecosystem that allows the everyday person to either buy their primary home, because we want to help people that are renting to not have to rent anymore and buy their property. And then people maybe that have already bought their primary home, hey Yvette, hey Gretel, put themselves in a position to be able to, start to buy doors to create that income. And it's so crazy. Literally, I was talking to somebody today and she was saying that her family had gone through some really rough financial times and like 10 years of just real turbulence. And she said when the dust settled, it was a great aunt for her. Her great aunt is still living a good life today. She said because when they were really making money, she invested in
Mhm.
real estate. Isn't that something? So she said
Yep.
she literally positioned to be able to live off of her rent roll.
Mm.
And so, I love what you're doing with the bank, and we're sending a lot of our members there and having success. And so that's just huge. So I know your heart, you started the bank because you wanted to be able to help our community. So talk a little bit about that because, um, you know, prices are not going to go down on houses, I don't think, anytime soon. And you can't marry the price. You got to marry the equity and look at the cash flow and the potential. Um, and then you got to make sure you just position yourself to have real wealth and not just thank God for business. But when you look at the wealthy, all of them have real estate in their portfolio. So talk a little bit about that.
Right. So I always tell people the number one way that you can build generational wealth is through equity. That's a guarantee. As we continue to watch the market grow throughout the years, since our grandparents existed, our parents, whether they bought houses or not, we have watched the ecosystem in the real estate space develop into something that have made many, many people successful and many, many people millionaires. Even if you don't reach the millionaire status, you're building something that can be passed down generation to generation, which is that land. They're not making any more in the world, right? And so essentially, when you're owning property, you are setting yourself up to say, I was here, number one. That is your legacy. Even if it's like one house, I don't care if it's a shack, it was yours, you owned it, and you can pass it down, right? That land is valuable. Um, when it comes to what these companies are doing, we have to watch what's happening around us. A lot of us like to watch television. We like to watch the distracting, disruptive moments that occur. However, behind the scenes, this world is moving. The stock market opens at 3 a.m. when we're still sleeping. New York is opening up before Central Time, and West Coast was still sleeping. So don't be the West Coast when the New York is open. You have to keep your eyes open. You have to be on the prize. And the prize should be keeping your family in order, tact, being successful, being positive, creating something that's going to be a benefit to those who are around you, including the things that we put our money towards. If you're not putting your money towards something that's going to build something for you, whether it's stocks, bonds, IRAs, whatever your choice is. I choose real estate. Jewel chooses real estate. Successful business people choose real estate. The model of every successful person that exists in this world includes a portfolio of real estate. If you are not interested, then you're asleep. And so move out of the way so the people who are interested can buy. If you want to stay a renter for the rest of your life and you see no value in owning anything, that is absolutely fine. This is a no judge zone. However, when the world continues to pass you by, sit in where you're sitting, so that way we, the progressive people, can continue to drive forward, without anything against anybody. But if you are a sound mind and you're reading what's happening in your city, in your state, real estate is where it's at. It's hot. They talk about it every single day. Companies are purchasing real estate. You know why? Because first of all, they have the ability. Yeah. They have the capital. And they also have meetings, just like we're talking right now, with vision. These conversations are happening in every room across the world. We're just privy to have our group here to have this conversation. But whether or not you're partaking in it, that's your choice. But these conversations are being had. These companies are going to continue to buy up. They are going to turn well-known cities into rental community cities. That means that the houses that exist, those brand new, beautiful homes with the 2-car garage, the stucco, and it looks all good with the brick and the stone, those are going to be the ones that they build, and they're going to rent them out. They're going to hold them and keep the portfolio, because what's going to happen is that there's going to become a disparity. We had low class, we had upper middle class, and we had upper class. And now as our economy has shifted, we are starting to get rid of the middle. And in a lot of places, there are just the have and the have-nots. There are places that people cannot buy a home right now because their job is not giving them a raise. Their whatever they choose to do in their life is not producing enough income for them to sustain what's happening in the market. So yes, you have to have a place to live, and you may be able to pay that $2,000 rent that you have. But what's happening is that you just don't have enough money to save. And if you can't save, you can't get into ownership because you need a down payment. If you don't have down payment and you get assistance, you need closing costs. If you don't have the closing costs, if you get it paid by the seller, or if you get assistance, you got to furnish it. If you don't have furniture, there's no one to help you besides Rent-A-Center. And that's through the roof. All those products that used to be rent for $20, that doesn't exist anymore. So you have to keep up with the times economically. And that's where Averse comes in with the multiple stream of income and, getting you to a position where you're able to continue to move with the times and not get left behind.
No, you're right, girl. You're right. I mean, I think it's crazy that, people of color have not grown in real estate asset accumulation since segregation. I mean, that still just blows my mind. And I think it happens because a lot of them, don't have the information. They don't know what to do. I know you were instrumental. Not only was your bank, the bank that we used to get my first apartment building downtown Detroit, but you were instrumental in mentoring me through that process. And I kind of started feeling a little like, like, no. And so what I want to encourage people on here is that we don't want to just, help you get your primary home, help you buy one door, but go on to 5 doors and the 10 doors. And you are going to really need mentorship. Like when you start looking at highly successful people, they become successful because they have mentorship, and that's what we offer here at Averse. And so, we're going to help make sure your credit is together. Then we're going to move you right on over to Benicia. And I know your bank right now, they could have as low as 580. Obviously, we're going to try to get a higher score than that so that your interest rate is decent. But talk a little bit about some of the things that you're offering, because I know you said you was working on some stuff too, girl.
Oh my God. So that's why I have a little notepad here, because I have created some dynamic programs that will put me in the top 20 of lenders in the United States of America. I will probably be the only Black in this top 20 platform. And I'm just giving myself 20 because I don't want to, toot my own horn. But these are things that do not compare when it comes to what other lenders are doing. Being in the space of banking is a fluid environment. I have to be very flexible. Things change every single day. But what won't change is the motto of my company, which is that I'm here to help bridge the wealth gap. I'm here to get access to capital to people who look like me. I'm here to help the underserved in the communities of people who may not be in the bankable space. They don't come from a legacy of having business connections and the business acumen or the financial intelligence per se to get to their next step. I'm not here to teach you per se, but I'm here to guide you in the right direction. So they've named me the financial Harriet Tubman because I'm leading the way with my golden light, trying to shine it down this hole that I've been down before. I could go down up and down this tunnel 1,000 times. Nobody would ever know. But it doesn't mean anything if I'm not reaching back to the people that I care about. And that's my community and that's my culture. And so the programs that I have that exist right now are a lot of programs that a lot of people just don't want to get into. That 580 credit score, yes, other lenders may go down to 580. But when I want to choose who I want to do business with, somebody who looks like me or somebody that doesn't, I'm going to choose somebody that looks like me because we have to circulate the Black dollar. It only stays in our community 6 hours. We're $1.8 trillion in spending power to this day. We've gone up from $1.7 trillion. Now we're at 1.8. And guess what? With our dollar only circulating for 6 hours, it's no point of us having a dollar because we're giving it away anyway. If we don't keep it in our house, Blacks in homes, minorities in homes, funded by, minority-owned banks and stuff like that, we're just basically defeating the purpose. Some of the programs that I do, the 580 credit score, which is empowering for those who, not just people who have financial challenges. Everybody is not poor credit managers. Sometimes you may co-sign for your kid to get a dorm room for college or apartment during college, and then they didn't pay the bill or something happened. Or you could go through a divorce. We have one of the highest rates of people who are 30 plus going through divorces nowadays. And, 30 to 50 years old, 60-year-old people going through divorce. You have to start your life all over and your credit gets impacted because something happens in that change. And so just because your credit was impacted doesn't mean that you're counted out. So programs exist for you. We are coming out with a no interest rate loan. That's going to be in October. Nobody is doing this.
Girl, talk about that.
Interest rate, guys. No interest rate. So you will come in putting down 3.5% to 5%. And if the seller wants to pay your, help contribute, some money to whatever other fees that exist, like your closing costs, you're still able to do that. You can get a gift for your down payment. So if someone wants to help you with your 3.5% of relative, family member, friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, they can do that. You're walking into owning a home with no interest for a 30-year fixed loan. Nobody's doing that. Nobody is doing that.
So you're telling me 0%?
0%, no interest rate. This is only for residential. It doesn't exist in commercial because commercial is going to work a lot different. But it's absolutely no interest rate, guys.
And 3% down.
3%, 3.5% down.
Plus closing costs.
You got to pay your closing costs, but that's a seller's cost. So you have a good agent, you get your agent to negotiate your closing costs.
Okay, what are we talking about in terms of a credit score? I don't think I've ever heard that, Benicia.
It doesn't exist. Nobody's heard it because it does not exist. I'm creating it. I'm the first. And I promise you I'll be the last because they don't know how to do it. They don't want to do this.
Girl. Yep, and is this 30 year, 15, 20 year, 15 year?
Yeah, you could choose. So essentially you can choose your own, they typically do 15 years or you have the option for 30 years. And so whatever you choose to do, but you can do a 30-year fixed loan. There's no catch. There's no tricks. There's nothing going to come out and jump out on you. It's a true no interest loan.
That no interest rate. So this has to be the first time in history.
It is.
I mean, guys, girls that are listening right now, like you need to get back with the person that invited you and say, okay, I need to join to have Averse. I need to be a part of this community That is unheard of. Like when I heard you say that on the gram the other day, I text you like, wait a minute.
No interest rate. And that's not even I mean, that's a great one. But let's talk about another one that I'm launching. So I have, we have entrepreneurs out here, people who are self-employed, running their own businesses, etc. And so the average down payment for a self-employed borrower for my company is 10%, which is absolutely great. You can buy a home, you put down 10% of the sales price, and you don't show any documentation besides your bank statements, right? That's a no-brainer. Sign me up. I'll do that every day, all day, right? No tax returns, just whatever the sales price is. So if the price is $1 million, I'm a business owner. I'm going to put down 100,000. It's no skin off my back. My business is making money. I should be able to put down my 10%. All you need is a 640 credit score to get into that program. The change that I'm making that is launching in October is that same exact program where you can buy up to $3 million with no questions asked. I just need 12 months of your bank statements, your business bank statement, showing that you actually make profit, not loss on your business. You got to make money with 3.5% down. So it's gone down from 10% to 3.5%. So why wouldn't every business owner want to own a home? Like 3.5%. You cannot find this loan anywhere else because I created it. It does not exist anywhere else. Another one that I'm launching is for my I know, right? It's my foreign nationals. So let's not forget those who come to the United States for the big American dream, right? The better life. And so when you're coming into a space where you are able to buy up, come to the United States, and the only thing you want to do is acquire property, right? This is American dream. My mother's an immigrant. This is all my family talked about when she got her citizenship. We all, was so happy to see all of my family progressively become citizens, because it's an honor to come to a country where you are truly living for free when you come from a third world place. And so typically foreign nationals, if they don't have a social security number and they don't have credit, right, because they're not born here. And with this product for foreign nationals, you don't need that. You don't need a credit score, and you don't need a social security number. That program has now gone from 20% to 3.5%.
Woo!
So now, as a foreign national, I don't care if you were born in Germany, Australia, Jamaica, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, you come from the British Virgin Islands. It could be anybody in your family. It could be any one of your friends. And those people deserve to have a homeowner experience too. And so instead of them putting down 20 to 25%, which is the highest risk, they can now purchase real estate with 3.5%. So that's another program that I created. Wow. So I have those three. And then my last one, this the cat in the hat. So the last one, this the cat with the hat with the ears like this. Okay, so my last one is, I actually can do this today, which is no credit score. So listen, I'm about to change the game on them. No credit score. So you can essentially apply for home ownership with just, I need a copy of a bill that shows that you paid your electric bill. We call it trade lines. When you think of trade lines, you think of your credit, and a trade line is maybe a creditor that's reporting on your credit. But a trade line is also categorized as a bill. So if you pay electric bill, if you pay a water bill, if you pay a light bill, you pay your cell phone bill, and you've been consistent with your monthly payments, some people don't have credit scores. That doesn't mean that they are counted out. This program with no credit score will allow you to purchase without utilizing a credit score and just your trade lines. So I want to see your bills paid on time. I want to see that light bill paid on time for a year. I want to see you have consistent work history, and you can actually get into a home with 3.5% down.
Wow. Benicia, when I say, sis, you just changed this entire game.
Yes.
I mean, so you got foreign national, you got 0% interest rate, and you need a 640 credit score for that one. Is that right?
The 0% interest is 620. 620.
Girl, 620 credit score, 3.5% down.
Now don't come over here not paying your bills and defaulting now, because I service my own loans, and I don't want to own your house. I do not want to foreclose. You come over here, you get one of these programs. The level of expectation is that you pay your bills and you do it the right way. If you don't have financial intelligence, join one of the Averse groups, the programs. They have financial information. They're going to get you to understanding what it means to actually pay your bills. We want to do it the right way, not just people who want to just come in and, default again. You don't want to ruin your situation. And then once you default on a government loan, if you do sign up for any programs such as a FHA loan, et cetera, you can't get into a loan program like that anymore. You ruin yourself from being eligible for those low entry programs when you default with the government. So it's just a chain event that happens. We're here to set people up for success, not for failure. So I recommend, if you don't understand homeownership yet, go through the program. If you are ready, then apply online. Those programs that I just mentioned, those kind of dynamic programs with the no interest rate, et cetera, those will be available in October. So it's coming out next month. Right now, I'm training my staff on how to work these programs, underwriting and processes, so they can get them done. So they're not ready yet. So if they call into the 1-800 number, it's not here yet.
It's really perfect because it gives them time. We need a couple weeks with them just to make sure that they're really ready. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure, like you said, you're financially responsible. We want to make sure that some of your basic foundational things are in place. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at that credit. We're going to make sure that you understand, the difference between Section 8, V8. Once you get the property, is it your primary? Is it an investment? So now let me ask you, with that 0%, that's available, I'm assuming, just for a person living in the primary property. That can't be used for investment. Can any of those investment properties at all?
No, these are all primary residents, and essentially anything that's a low down payment, they're going to be for your primary residents. Once you get into the investment properties, that's going to stay at 20% plus. So it's and the reason why, guys, is because you're getting loaned money at the highest risk. So that high risk means that you're not paying the mortgage. You're depending on a third party to pay the mortgage. So if you're depending on that, where do you live? You got a mortgage. And now that person dies or something happens, they lose their job, or they just decide, I'm not paying you rent anymore because I'm going to squat. Then essentially you're responsible. And ultimately, if you don't become responsible, the bank becomes responsible. So that 20% is your risk factor. That's your down payment for the risk category that you sit in.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. But that's huge because there are a lot of people in the community, or you might be watching right now like, hey, I don't own my own home. I do want to invest, but I need to own my own home. Rents are going up $100 to $500 within a 30-day notice. Like, we are really, really in a place now where you really, really, really need to get into home ownership and do it in a very, very serious way. We got 90 days left before the holiday. Now is a great time to say, you know what, if that's all I got to put down, and we could even help you with your down payment, like, there's no reason why everybody that's watching right now, that's renting, there's no reason without some support and helping community that you can't be in your own home by Christmas. I mean, there's just absolutely no reason. Those products are remarkable, sis. Congratulations on even being able to create that and put that together. This 0% interest, we're going to be able to help a lot of people. Talk really quickly about what you are seeing with rent going up. I mean, I really feel like, the working class is really getting like a squeeze is on them financially, like for real.
Yeah. So at this point, the working class people they're having a difficult time. I'm not saying that the housing market is not booming, that it's not moving. People are applying for loans every day. If you think that no one's applying for loans, you sleep. People are moving, they're buying, they're growing their family, they're downsizing, they're upsizing. There's money out here. So at the end of the day, just because you're not in a position doesn't mean the world's not in a position. So we're not in a bubble. We're not in a burst. What's happening is that, like I said in the beginning, the divide is real. And so, if you have a property, maybe you're on this call and you actually own real estate, right? So you're sitting on equity. Let's talk about that, because those are the ways that you leverage what you have to get to where you want to be or what you want. Your dream may be to own an investment property. It may be to buy a building. It may be to own a duplex or a multifamily, a small multifamily. It may be to put your kid in an apartment, and when they go to the University of Colorado, whatever school they go to, that may be a goal for you. So if you're sitting on equity, you can also tap into that. But essentially, the world is changing rapidly. And so it's really, really, really about being prepared and getting into a financial position where if you want to go to the next steps in life, you have to put your finances in order. Otherwise, you're just going to be a bill for the people you leave behind.
Yeah. Not for sure, for sure. And listen, guys, we got all the support that you need. We got the education on the credit. We've got education on how to find, good off-market deals where real estate is concerned, commercial property, residential property. Maybe this is your own, primary property because you're like, hey, I don't own anything right now, but I need to own it. We want to really help you, authentically help you move into that. And again, as long as you're teachable and willing to connect, the community is amazing. You already heard, 0% interest. I'm still just stuck there. That's unheard of. If you're a foreign national where you don't even need a credit score, they just need to see that you have a history of paying your bills, right? Paying your utilities. So we have a phenomenal program here. And so we're excited to help you guys. Listen, get back with that person that invited you on here tonight. Tell them, hey, I'm ready to get connected. I'm ready to win. We got 90 days to the holiday. I want to make sure that I'm going into 2024 financially in a much stronger, better position. So what would you tell them? The last thing, what would you tell them just as in terms of wisdom, like, why is this real estate play and moving right now? I think is so important. I think sometimes people put stuff off in a year when I'm out of debt, or in 2 years, or in 3 years. But I think a lot of it is just lack of knowledge. Get in a community that has your answer, because you might be pushing something out for 2 years or 3 or 4 years where you could have already seized the opportunity and started building a nice portfolio.
Okay, so I want to give everybody an example of if you sit back and wait, what's going to happen. So we all experienced COVID on this live, right? We made it. So when COVID hit, we thought, oh man, it was going to tear the world up. Well, it did the exact opposite of what most people thought would happen in the world of financing. So essentially, what took place was that people were scared to let people into their homes because of the spread of germs. Right. So a lot of people didn't list their properties. But those who were willing to list their properties, now what happens is that when supply goes down and demand has not changed, because the world didn't lose population, but the world lost supply. Now what was on the market became like a monopoly. Like, okay, there's 14 people looking at one house now. That 14 turned into 40. That 40 sometimes turned into 400 people looking at one house that was on a block that was available. So what happened in the housing market actually did complete opposite of what we expected it to do. We thought everything was just going to stop in its tracks. But we live in a world where, again, if the stock market is on, things are moving. As long as the stock market opens up, the world is moving. If the stock market closed and no money is moving and the world is closed, right? That's never, ever happened. So when the housing market shifted and caused the housing market to increase, essentially, it just kept going from there. And even though they had a lower interest rate, because the idea was like, oh, shoot, let's lower the interest rate so we can keep people buying. The people who purchased, such as myself, who got the 2%, I got a 1.7% interest rate on a multi-million-dollar home that I put hundreds of thousands of dollars down on top of that. So I got, I'm not trying to tell everybody my business, but I capitalized on the housing market during COVID, just like a lot of other people did. And essentially, what those who were able to buy in the market of 2020 saw something that we've never seen before. Okay. So if you are waiting to predict what's going to happen in the housing market, then you might as well get a phone and call yourself Miss Cleo and just start getting paid on the 1-800 number, because until people realize that you don't know what you're talking about, it's no way to predict it. It's no way to predict it. And what the housing market did showed us that it's unpredictable. It showed us that the way of the world, it's going to keep going. And people are having, like I said, the meetings in the closed door rooms that we're not privy to. So when you see cranes in areas, follow the cranes. Those are the next places that are going to be, that's a clear indication for the average consumer of what the market is doing.
Yes.
Go to your local city. Ask questions. They meet about development 10 years before it happens. We
Mm.
already know where the churches are going to go and what's going to happen here and there. So, you know, you can't predict it. We saw what's going to happen in 2020. And if you don't get on board, the train is it's just gonna leave you.
Mm. Girl, when I say that is so good, you want to get in right
Yes.
now. You want to get in right now. Honest to God, like you said, you don't want to wait. You know, every time that rent roll hits from my apartment building and my residential properties, I'm so grateful to God. Some of these properties I bought in 2016, 2017, and own it free and clear. And now the rent roll is coming in. We want to make sure you all are in that position. We want to make
Right.
sure, and I appreciate you giving those numbers too, that tea, like you said, because sometimes we do need to hear the details. Sometimes we do need a little bit more of the details because we want to know what's possible. It doesn't mean you're going to start exactly where she is or where I am, but the key is to start wherever you are. You can put yourself in a position to start. And 3.5% in 2023 is almost unheard of. And so I really want to encourage you again, get back with the person that invited you on here tonight. We want to bring you into the system. We want to make sure your credit is together. And then we're going to move you right on over to Benicia's bank and make sure you get funded. Somebody said they're encouraged to purchase their first home. Yes, child. We want to help you get your first home. So, sis, thanks for coming on here tonight. This was so powerful. This was really good. Again, guys, thanks for joining. I'll be back on here tomorrow night and Wednesday night at the same time. So make sure, actually 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern on Tuesday and Wednesday. So go ahead and spread the word. All right, B, I appreciate you, girl. And we'll talk later.
Okay. Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Bye-bye.